All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call line block. Allah hang out with you. How about Shimmy Al Shai by Shim Har Kakodash? I want to give double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. And I want to give a hearty shalom to the hopeful elect. All right, your brother Quran Desire back with another lesson through the spirit and power. How about Shimmy Al Shai? And the title of the lesson is We Are Scattered. All right, if you look into the world today, all right, and what we believe in is it is not about skin color, even though the world makes it about skin color. Because we say what the so-called white man, all right, is Esau, but there are some Edomites, some people that look like Edomites. Their sea line goes back to a so-called, well, I want to say a so-called black man, but their sea line, the sea line of their father, could go back to an Israelite, all right, to one of the patriarchs of our forefathers, right? And then you have people that look like Israelites, okay, all right, so-called Negro Latinos and Native American Indians, and their sea line can go back to a sea line of the other nation. And an example of which I'm going to speak on could go back. We can go back to slavery times. We know there was a lot of mixing of seed of the so-called white man with the so-called black woman, right? There was a lot of mixing going on. So the kid, all right, can look like a so-called black man, all right, but his forefathers go back to a so-called white man, all right. And Lord will, y'all can still hear me. Uh, and the seed of the black man, all right, can be mingled in with the white woman, and the kid can come out looking white, or down the line, the kids can, if that kid has a lighter shade than his mother, than his father, and he goes and marries a white woman, all right, and impregnates a white woman, all right, that child may come out looking white. But if you go back to the history of his forefather, all right, of his father is just it will be a so-called Jake based on the example I just gave. So let me start off with I got just a couple precepts just running through my head. This is Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18. And they assemble all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years and upward. All right. So the pedigrees or the lineage was declared by their fathers. All right, by the house of their fathers. So it's the man that dictates the sex of the baby, all right, and or uh is lineage, okay? Whether it's the so-called black baby or so-called white baby or so-called Mexican baby, so-called whatever, right? It goes back to the man, right? But during the times of chattel slavery, all right, like I just explained, there was a mixing up of the seeds. At times there were raping of so-called black women by the slave masters or the slave or the plantation workers that were white, right? What I mean by the overseers, that's the word, right? And those kids came out and they could be dark skinned, all right, or fairly dark skinned or fairly light skinned, all right, but their father is white, right? And vice versa. There could be an instance, I just explained it again. There could be an instance where a black man lays with a white woman and the kid comes out fairly light skinned, and then he goes and sleeps with another white woman, all right, and that kid comes out even lighter than his father. Blake Griffin, to be for example, um, Drake's kid, all right, Drake's father, all right, darker than me, according to the pictures I seen. But he came out light skinned because he married a white woman, had a kid with a white woman. And then Drake had a kid with a white woman, and that kid is dark, is as white as can be, right? His complexion is white as can be, but his father is a Jake because Drake's father is a Jake, all right? There's another basketball player that's up there in the NBA. His dad is a Jake, but his mom is an Edomite, and he looks like an Edomite. But his dad is a Jake. All right, I can't remember his name. He's this young dude, plays for the New York Knicks. All right, but other than that point of us having us of us being what our fathers are, we were scattered, man. All right, we were scattered. I'm gonna give some examples in history of that. All right, but this is Deuteronomy. No, let me go here. This is James chapter 1. Let me go there. I had it. I had it. All right, this is James chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of Yahweh and of the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Greetings. All right. We scattered. The Lord scattered us according to the curses because we didn't do what it is that he said we should do, which is obey his voice, which is keep the commandments to the best of our ability in the Old Testament, right? And since we didn't do that, the Lord, he promised the curses on us, and part of the curses that we will be scattered. I'm going to read two of them. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 25. Yahweh shall, Yahweh shall smite thee, Salakia, Yahweh shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies, and thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and thou shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. All right, and let me see what that word says. All right, so being removed, all right, taken out of one place and put into another, right? And the removal process has come from the kings of the Babylonian Empire, all right, or the Syrian Empire, coming in and taking us out of our land, all right. And once we were taken out of that land, again, mingling and mixing has happened amongst the people, all right, whether it be a Syrian male sleeping with Israelite women or Israelite men sleeping with the Syrian women, all right. Those things may have happened. All right, I don't know for sure, but there was a mixing going on, and that's why you have Israelites that may look like other nations. All right, until this day, there's still a mixing going on. All right. There's another one. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64. It says, "And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." And look at us, we in America today. All right, you got our people calling on Jesus Christ, the eight-armed God Shiva, Muslim stuff, all kind of, ass backwards ideologies and doctrines. Our people are following after them because they know not Yahweh Shem Shai. But that comes from being scattered and following after the ways of the Gentiles and continuing to do that even after you've been told and showed according to the scriptures that you are Israelites, right? Um, so I'm gonna read in this in my Bible dictionary app that I have on my phone. I'm going to read some of these definitions that they have for scattered or dispersion. All right. It says here, the dispersion is a comprehensive designation applied to the Jews living outside of Palestine. All right, well, we know the name of the land got changed to Israel. All right, and maintaining their religious observances and customs among the Gentiles. All right, there was instances where in the Bible where people kept the customs of worshiping the Lord and not other gods. Right. Example: look at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. All right, Daniel. All right. They worship Yahweh Shema Shai no matter the cost, even if it cost them their life. Right. It says here the captivity and expression describing in relation to their own land, the diaspora, the dispersion and expression describing them in relation to the nations among whom they were scattered. All right, diaspora. All right, we were scattered among the nations. It's going to give us some examples of how we were scattered amongst the nations. All right. It says here, one notable occasion, Yahushua said, "Ye shall seek me, and ye shall not find me, and where I am, ye cannot come." The Jews therefore said among themselves, "Whether will this man go? Will he not? Will that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersion among the Greeks, and teach the Greeks?" And those Greeks, all right, those were Israelites, okay? Those Greeks that were mentioned, all right, in the scriptures, those that in First Maccabees, all right, you can see where the starting of the Hellenization period, where Jake converted from to being an Israelite, or from their heritage to being a Greek, all right, and taking on their fashions, doing the things that they did, right, following after their customs, worshiping their gods. Okay, I could do that one. Apocrypha. All right, I'm gonna just read it out of here. This is excuse me. This is First Maccabees. I'm gonna read it in the Oxford Annotated Bible with the Apocrypha New Revised Version. All right, and I'm gonna start here. This is First Maccabees 1:10. From them came forth a sinful root, Antiochus Epiphanes, son of King Antiochus. He had been a hostage of Rome. He began to reign in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. All right, so within the time frame of the Greeks, this guy Antiochus came up. In those days, certain renegades came out from Israel and misled many, saying, "Let us go make a covenant with the Gentiles round us," and those Gentiles meaning those other nations. So when they went to go take on the customs of these Gentiles, all right, they became like them, right? And this is what the Lord specifically told us to stay away from, and the curses, right? In the blessings and the curses, within Deuteronomy, the Lord told us to not go worship idols, right? It says, let us go and make a covenant with the Gentiles around us, for since we separated from them, many disasters have came upon us. This proposal pleased them, and some of them eagerly went to the king, who authorized them to observe the ordinances of the Gentiles. And here goes an example. So they built a gymnasium in Jerusalem according to the Gentile custom, and removed the marks of circumcision, and abandoned the holy covenant. They joined the Gentiles and sold themselves to do evil. All right, and that's how our people, all right, in the spiritual sense and physical, all right, became Gentiles. They followed after the customs of the heathen, right? And for that, and even and for that, and in the Old Testament, following after the customs of the heathen, the Lord destroyed us out of our land. Like it said in Deuteronomy, caused us to flee 7 ways before our enemy. All right, caused us to be destroyed, caused us to worship other gods, Shalom, brother, caused us to be in the mindset that we are in, and the destructive state that we are in, because we went after the ways of the Gentiles, right? We are scattered, right? Let me go back into what I was reading out of the Bible dictionary. It says here, purpose of the dispersion. It says in 2 Maccabees, certain priests of Jerusalem are represented as praying to Yahweh. Gathered together are dispersion, set at liberty them that are in bondage among the heathen. All right. It says here, then it gives some precepts. 2 Maccabees 1:27 compares 2 Esdras 2:7. Let me go ahead and get this book back out and read those precepts. 2 Maccabees 1:27. It says here, 2 Maccabees 1:27. It says what I just read. Gather together. Let me start up. Gather together our scattered people, set free those who are slaves among the Gentiles. Look on those who are rejected and despised, and let the Gentiles know that you are our power. Punish those who oppress and are insolent with pride. Plant your people in the holy place as Moses promised. All right, so this the brother got precepts. He got Baruch 2:1. Therefore, Yahweh hath made good on his word, which he pronounced against us and against our judges, and that judge Israel, against our kings and against our priests, our princes, and against the men of Israel and Judah, to bring upon us great plagues, such as, this is Baruch 2:2, such as never happened under the whole heaven. It came to pass in Jerusalem according to the things that were written in the law of Moses. And the Lord said in the law of Moses that He was going to uproot us out of our land. All right, we're going to be destroyed in so many different ways. All right, and this is what has happened to us, man. All right, it says he got Baruch 2:4. Moreover, hath he delivered them to be in subjection to all the kingdoms that are around about us, to be a reproach, a desolation among all the people around about, where Yahweh hath scattered them. And look at us, that's where we are today. All right, we are reproach, we are destroyed, a desolation, are mentally, spiritually, physically. All right, but if our people don't return to the Lord, they're going to continue to stay in that mindset until the Lord destroys them, whether it be by thermonuclear fire or just your everyday way of death. There was a show that came out some time ago, 1,000 Ways to Die. Well, people can die in one of those ways if they don't repent and change their ways, or if the Lord doesn't save them for the destruction by the thermonuclear missiles. This is Baruch chapter 2, verse 14. It says, "Hear our prayers, O Yahweh, and our petitions, and deliver us for thine sake, and give us favor in the sight of them which led us away." Right? And Tawada, brother, these some fire precepts. And this is what we need to be asking the Lord for. Right? Because the scriptures say, I believe it's in Jeremiah, pray not for this people, the ones that were doing wicked, right? But these prayers that Baruch is saying, and that the priest is reading or asking of the Lord in 2nd Maccabees, is for the elect, man. All right. Verse 15, it says that all the earth may know that thou art the Lord Yahweh, our power, because Israel and his posterity is called by thy name. Right? And that Genesis 35, I believe, is where Jacob got his name changed to Israel, man. All right, we are the Lord's people, man. All right, us, so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And again, we are scattered. All right, so there could be an Edomite or East Elamite or a Hamite that looks like one of those nations, but their seed line the father could go back to an Israelite man, and it works vice versa. All right, water for them fire precepts, brother. Let me go back to this. It says the thought of such a dispersion as a punishment for disobedience of the people finds frequent expression in the prophets. Hosea, you got Hosea 9:3. Let me read. Let's see. It says this is Hosea 9:3. It says, "They shall not dwell in the Lord's land." In the Lord's land, where he said his name is in Jerusalem, the whole land of Israel, right? That's the Lord's land. It says, "But Ephraim shall return to Egypt, and they shall eat unclean things in Assyria." All right. That's the form of punishment, right, for disobedience. This is Jeremiah 8:3. It says, "And death shall be chosen rather than life by all that reside of them that remain of this evil family, which remain in all the places where I have driven them, saith the Lord." And that's what's going to happen. People are going to die because guess what? They're not returning back unto the Lord. They're continuing in their evil ways. Here's another one, Jeremiah 16:15. "But Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whether he had driven them. And I will bring them again into their land, and that I gave unto their fathers." That's part of the promise. You got to hold on to that mentally. Like, hey, the Lord's going to drive us back into the land where he drove us out of. All right, the Lord's going to have that great mercy on us via the sacrifice of Yahushua and his blood. We are cleansed, and the Lord's going to put us back in our land. But that precept was to show you that we were scattered, right? The land of the north, which is here in America, all right, and wherever else Israelites are, because you got Israelites that live in these other nations. You got Israelites that live in these other countries, dwelling amongst these other nations, the people of these other countries. Ezekiel 4:13, "And the Lord said, and Yahweh said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, where there I will drive them. And look at the food system in America, man. All right, it's so bad that other countries are not importing. They're importing our food into their country. All right, and you can look it up on social media, internet, wherever. Right. Um, when you look at certain ingredients in the country of America's food, it's because it's not our food. Fuck that shit. And the countries of these other nations, the ingredients list is way shorter, and it's not as it chemically induced. The brother Kazak, he got Tobit 3 and 13, 13 and 3. Salaki, it says, confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for he hath scattered us among them. Again, that's another great point, right? The water brother for that precept, because guess what? Some of the Israelites that live amongst these Gentiles, right? Well, we live amongst the Gentiles, but you'll have Israelites that look like the Gentiles, but they go back to their seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So you got to teach the word to everybody, right? So when you're out there preaching and teaching, speak to the wind, like the scriptures say. Somebody that the word is going to get to whoever it's supposed to get to. Verse 4, Tobit 13 and 4. There declare his greatness and extol him before all the living, for he is our Lord Yahweh, and he is the power of our Father forever. And he will scourge us of our iniquities, and will have his mercy again, and will gather us from all nations among whom he has scattered us. The water brother. The water brother for those precepts. The water Yabba Shimon Shai for allowing that brother to come on the comment board and post even 5 precepts. Because it's we scattered, man. All right. We look like the people. When I say we look like, what I mean by is that we have practiced the same things, right? We are a mirror to the people that we live around. But when we become the window, all right, and people start looking at us because of the things that we are doing, then there's that different setup. Then you'll see, no, I'm sorry, we are looking through a window, right? What I mean by that is we see these other people doing all the things that we should be doing. Let me take that back. What I mean by we are looking through a window, we seeing how the world is acting. We seeing how things are, but we need to set ourselves up to be the people in the mirror. So when individuals look at us, they can copy us and say, "Oh, look, they're doing what righteousness is." That's what we need to be doing. So, like I was going on just talking. Let me get back to reading. It says here, it also appears in the Deuteronomic law, and it goes into Deuteronomy 28 and 25. It says the dispersion of the Jews for the benefit of Gentiles is a conception to which expression is given in utterances. All right, and they benefited from our dispersion, man. Look at so-called Neo Latinos and Native American Indians have built up America. All right. Let's see. It is also found in the Apocrypha book Baruch, a work belonging to the 1st century AD. I will scatter this people among the Gentiles, and they may do good to the Gentiles. And look, we built up their land, man. All right, we built up their land. That's how we did good unto these people. But these people treat us like shit. But that's okay. All right, because the Lord's going to do something to them. Right. This is definition or tier 3. It says the cause of dispersion or the scattering, most obvious to the student of Old Testament history, were the Assyrian and the Babylonian captivities, when the king of Assyria carried away Israel into his own land and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. And 2 Kings 17 and 5, it says the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. And when you besieging something, when you're taking something, you're taking the resources, the people, you probably killing off the men and taking the children and the women and whatever resources. And it says here, when in the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, Judah was carried away into Babylonia. And 2 Kings 24 and 14. And he carried away all Jerusalem and all the princes and all the mighty men of valor, even 10,000 captives and all the craftsmen and smiths. None remained save the poorest sort of the people of the land. right? That's how we were scattered, man. That's how we were dispersed, man. We were dispersed because of choosing to follow after wickedness and continuing to go in the way of wickedness. And the Lord, He sent prophets, and we ignored the prophets. And the Lord said, "You know what? I had enough. Here goes the king of Assyria. Here goes the king of Babylonia, and threw us into captivity." My brother got some more fire up here. This is Jeremiah 15:17. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria hath devoured him, and last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, have broken his bones. Jeremiah 15:18. Therefore, saith Yahweh of hosts, the power of Israel, behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land, and I have punished the king of Assyria. Verse 19. And I will bring Israel again to his habitation, and he shall feed on the camel, he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead. And this is what we got to hope in, man. Verse 18, we got 19, we got to hope in that, man. All right, because the Lord is bringing it to pass. We got to hope in what the brother got here as well. Tobit 3 and 13 and 15. We got to hope in that, man. All right, we need that mercy from the Lord. Keep going with the water brother from the precepts. It says here, but there were other captivities which helped scatter the children of Abraham. Ptolemy the first of Egypt from 322 to 285 BC, by his expeditions to Palestine and his capture of Jerusalem, added largely to the population of the Jewish population of Alexandria. Antiochus the Great of Syria, 223 to 187 BC, removed from the Jewish communities in Mesopotamia and Babylonia 2,000 families and settled them in Pygra and Lydia. Ptolemy, after his capture of Jerusalem in 63 BC, carried off hundreds of Jews to Rome, where they were sold as slaves, but afterward many of them obtained their freedom and civic rights. And once we obtained those freedom and civic rights, we were able to, as slaves, you built up the economy. Even in America, you're still a slave, you building up the economy, or, as this economy is falling down, but you were free to do so, right? You are free to do so. You have a choice to either work or not work. But if you don't work, you're going to be relying on government assistance, and it's always something, right? But we were scattered, man. That's the whole point. And it's got a lot more, but the app is called Bible Encyclopedia, and I just got it on the App Store. Yep. And what I did was I searched scattered first, and then it said see dispersion, and then from that point on, I just read everything where it had for dispersion. All right, but just to show you that we were scattered, man, and the brother got some more fire precepts up here. It says, Baruch 4:24, like as now the neighbors of Zion have seen your captivity, so shall they shortly see your salvation. And look at that word in there, shortly, meaning it's coming quickly. The Lord says that he's coming quickly. All right, and upon his return, there's going to be deliverance and there's going to be destruction. You have to pray and hope that Yahweh Shema Shai delivers you. It says, so shall they shortly see your salvation from our power, which shall come upon you with great glory and brightness and the everlasting. And brightness of the everlasting. Salakia, Baruch 4:25. My children, suffer patiently the wrath that is come upon you from Yahweh. For thine enemy hath persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction and shall tread upon his neck. And that's something else that you got to hope in, and that the Lord turns you from that fisherman into a hunter, all right? And not just and continue to do the work, man. All right, you gotta continue to do the work, and just keep hoping in the Lord, man. All right. The water brother for the precepts, and the water for whomever else is on the comment board listening. And may Yahweh Shema Shai continue to bless you and your families. Till the next time, Shalom.